Hello, Bronco fans and football fans everywhere. Welcome to Broncos Breakdown. This is Tuesday, October 5th, 2021. I am your host, Bronco Bill. Let's get right into this. This is a Week 4 recap and predictions for Week 5's games. Before I really get into the other games, I just want to touch briefly about the Broncos. I'll get into it a little bit more detail, but not necessarily about what the Broncos did, but more along the line of what the Baltimore Ravens did. Now, the Ravens had the game totally in hand, 23-7, and on the last play of the game, instead of kneeling down and and basically just ending the game, John Harbaugh, who in my opinion is a complete idiot. The guy is egotistic. He's self-centered. It's all about him. And granted, he's the coach of the Ravens, but in my opinion, they're dirty. I told you I'll get into all this down when I do the recap of the Broncos. But on the last play of the game, instead of kneeling, the Ravens and John Harbaugh called a running play on the outside left side by the quarterback, Lamar Jackson. Take the handoff, run around the end, and gain 7 yards. Why? Because the Ravens wanted to tie the all-time record of, I believe it was 42 games or 43. I believe it was 42. 42 straight games of the team rushing for 100 yards. And by getting those 7 yards, they accomplished that by a total of 102 total. So Denver had held the running game to 95 all game. And John Harbaugh, being the egotistical maniac he is, decided to keep that record alive. So Denver's lining up for, it looked like a kneel down, and then they run out around the left end. So, yeah, congratulations, you idiot Ravens. There's something to be said about, people who, and teams and players, but especially coaches who, do things like that. I totally understand, you want to keep that record going, but do it legitimately. Do it during the game. They couldn't even run during the game. And I know I'm getting on my soapbox, but I'm ticked off about this. I'm not the only one. Fangio was very, very angry. He even used some very choice words that they had to cut out on the sideline when when that play happened. And I don't blame him. I don't blame him one bit. That's unsportsmanlike. It's totally, it's like one of those unwritten rules, like in baseball. If you have a 10-run lead in the ninth inning, you don't try and steal second base. It's an unwritten rule. Can they do it? Absolutely they can. Of course they can. But it's not sportsmanship. And if they couldn't gain 100 yards during 59 minutes and 59 seconds or 58 or whatever was left over, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, whatever, and they couldn't gain 100 yards in that time frame, and they had to use that, in my opinion, cheat play, unsportsmanlike play, downright in-your-face kind of play, I don't have any respect for Harbaugh. I never have. I never, ever have. And I can't stand the Baltimore Ravens, and I couldn't stand them when they were the Cleveland Browns. But I move on. All right, let's go to the recap. Now that I got that off my chest, let's get to the recap. All right, recap of Week 4 in the AFC West. Let me start with the Chiefs at Philadelphia. Now, Kansas City was coming into the game with a record of 1-2, and Philadelphia was also 1-2. Now, the Eagles led the Chiefs after one quarter, 10-7. But after that, the Chiefs took the lead in the second, and they never looked back. Final score, Kansas City 42, Philadelphia 30. That game was never in doubt for Kansas City. Yeah, it looked bad in the first quarter, but Kansas City has played like that all year long. And they've struggled. They've struggled this year. I don't know whether it's the Super Bowl loss hangover. I don't know if it's because the Tampa Bay Buccaneers basically, set the table as to how to beat the Chiefs, how to compete with them. I'm not quite sure, but the Chiefs are struggling, but they did improve their record to 2-2. Now let's go to last night's Monday night game. The Las Vegas Raiders against the LA Chargers. Now, this game was delayed by 30 minutes, I think 25 to 30 minutes due to lightning and thunder in the area. NFL rules, even though it's a, quote, dome, it's not really a dome. It's what they call a canopy. It's made out of glass, and of course it has, the roof is glass, and it has some metal structures and things, and obviously lightning can go through glass, so they didn't want to take a chance. The NFL did not want to take a chance. So what they did was they postponed it, or I shouldn't say postponed, they delayed it 25, 30 minutes, but the game did get underway. They did have a power outage at one point before the game. The entire stadium went dark, and it was quite a spectacle in case you missed it. In any case, the Chargers won that game. Now, the Chargers defense is for real, guys. I hate to say it, but it's for real. They pressured Derek Carr. They made him very uncomfortable. There were numerous stunts and delays and things of that nature. They just blanketed everything the Raiders tried to do. Now, the final score was 28-14, but in my opinion, it could have been a lot worse. That win by the Chargers improved their record to 3-1. It dropped the Raiders to 3-1. So those two teams are now tied at 3-1. Chiefs are 2-2. Now, let's go to the last game of Sunday, and that was Baltimore at Denver. I told you guys, I told you in my last video, I even said it in my predictions a month or so ago, that the Broncos would lose to the Ravens. Why did I say that? Because I don't believe, and I still don't believe, that this Broncos team is for real. I know we have Teddy Bridgewater. I know we have the best offensive weapons that Fangio's had. We also have the best defensive weapons that Fangio's had. But Vic Fangio is still Vic Fangio. He didn't call a timeout when there was 2 minutes left and in the first half. And Baltimore just sat on it. By the time Denver got the ball, it was under a minute. Why is he hanging on to timeouts going into the half? You don't get those to carry over in the second half. Vic Fangio is a lot to blame. Now, of course, they won their first 3 games, but against garbage teams. They beat the Giants. They beat the Jaguars, and they beat the Jets. Those 3 teams going into week 4 had a combined record of 0-9. Yeah. If Denver doesn't beat those teams, they're as bad as they are. But of course they beat them. And I said last video, go back and watch it, guys. I said last video, the Baltimore Ravens would beat the Denver Broncos. And I also said that this was the Broncos' test. This was the first test they were going to have in this season. And they needed to prove that they are legit. Losing 23-7. This Broncos team right now is not legit. Not only that, but we lost Teddy Bridgewater towards the end of the first half with a concussion because the Ravens are dirty. There were plays that the referees turned their back on, swallowed their flag, or I should say swallowed their whistle and buried their flag. They didn't throw the flag on downright penalties that should have been called. Roughing the passer, late hits, early hits, shot to the head. They didn't call them. We lost Teddy Bridgewater in the first half to a concussion. I don't know if he's going to play next week. That hasn't been revealed. Hopefully I can find out by Wednesday or Thursday when they do the press meetings. They're not meetings, the press interviews. Now, that being said, when we lost Bridgewater, guess who came in the game? Yeah, Yeah, Mr. I only have one read and I throw interceptions whenever I can. Guess what? He threw an interception. He also threw for 100 yards, true. But the Broncos' offensive line was pathetic. They couldn't stop blitzes. They couldn't even stop a four-man rush. Teddy Bridgewater was absolutely inundated with trying to get away from rushers. Drew Lock throws an interception. Drew Lock looked like a deer in the headlights back there, like he always does. Are we in trouble if Drew Lock has to start next week against the Steelers? Yeah, you think, guys? You think? Well, when I get into my predictions, I'll tell you who I think's going to win that game. But it's going to be based on several things, but I'll get into that in a little later. So Baltimore blitzed the Broncos multiple times. And Denver, like I said, O-line was absolutely porous. Pathetic. They couldn't do anything. The one bright spot, seriously, was Devontae Williams, the running back. He literally carried one or two defenders on his back for nearly 20 yards. He gained like 37 on this ridiculous run. It was an incredible, incredible run. But that was it. That was really the only bright spot other than that touchdown pass from Bridgewater to Noah Fant in the first quarter, second drive. That was it. That was it, guys. The Broncos were never heard from again in the red zone, in the scoring, in anything. And then, of course, we had that debacle at the end that I mentioned earlier about John Harbaugh calling that stupid play to gain 100 yards. Whoopee. I hope you're happy. You know, Baltimore, you suck. Not just because we lost, because I said we were going to lose. But it's the way we lose. It's the manner. It's their coaching. It's pathetic. Okay, so that made the Broncos record 3-1, and Baltimore went to 3-1. Now, the AFC West looks like this. Denver, Chargers, Raiders are all 3-1. Kansas City is 2-2. Now, out of those four teams in the AFC West, here's how I rank the best teams in order, 1 through 4. Ready? Here it is. I hate to say this. It hurts me to say this. I almost want to cringe when I say this. But I have to say that the Chargers right now are the best team in the AFC West. Why? Even though they have the same record as the Raiders and Broncos, because they beat the Chiefs and they beat the Raiders. They haven't played Denver yet, thank goodness, but they've beaten those two teams. So therefore, the Chargers have to be the team to beat in the AFC West. I have them at number 1, followed by the Raiders. Why? Because the Chiefs are 2-2. If the Chiefs were 3-1, and depending on who they played, I may say, okay, the Chiefs are number 2. But right now, the Raiders are number 2. Now here's going to be the shocker. Number 3, the Chiefs. Even with their record at 2-2, I have to put the Chiefs 3rd. Reason being, because Denver cannot beat, or hasn't yet, beaten a quality team. Yes, they are 3-1. But it's a false 3-1. It's not a legit 3-1 when it comes down to trying to make the playoffs and winning a playoff game and advancing. We don't know if Teddy Bridgewater is going to be able to play Sunday. And we play the Steelers in Pittsburgh. The Steelers are not that good of a team. I'll give you their record here in a minute. But they're not that good of a team. But right now, neither is Denver. Neither is Denver. And we also had Patrick Surtain injured with a chest injury in the Ravens game because of a hit. But they say he's okay and he's going to be good to go in week 5. I hope that's the case. I hope it's true. But if we don't have Bridgewater, it doesn't matter if we would have had Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton and Noah Fant and Okawebanam. And if we had all of these other offensive players and stuff, if we don't have Teddy Bridgewater, I'll get into that a little bit later. All right, let's get into the predictions for week 5. Cleveland Browns at the Los Angeles Chargers. Cleveland's 3-1, Chargers 3-1. The Browns beat the Vikings last Sunday in a slugfest. It wasn't a high scoring. I believe it was 11-7 final. It wasn't a high scoring game. But Cleveland found a way to win. Now, Minnesota made a whole lot of mistakes, mental mistakes, physical mistakes, not being smart, getting an offsides or roughing the passer or a pass interference in the end zone on fourth down. You can't make those mistakes. You can't do that and expect to win against a quality team. And now Cleveland, yes, is a quality team this year. They're 3-1. They're playing great football. And if you're going to beat a team like that, you can't beat yourself. And that's what Minnesota did. And then the Chargers dominated the Raiders on Monday night on defense. I mean, their defense, again, I hate to say it, is good. And it pains me to say it because anybody who really knows me knows I can't stand them for various reasons. And I'll get into that maybe sometime in a different video. But the point is, the Chargers are legit. Cleveland is legit. They're both 3-1. The game is in LA. And after the Chargers' performance last night against the Raiders in total domination on defense, I have to give this game to the Chargers. I don't want to. I hope they lose. But the way things have looked in the last several weeks, I have to give the nod to the Chargers. All right, second game. Chicago Bears at Las Vegas Raiders. Now, the Bears beat the winless Lions to even their record at 2-2. But the Raiders lost to the Chargers on Monday night to drop their record to 3-1. The Raiders are at home in Vegas. The stadium's going to be loud. It's going to be raucous. It's going to be insane inside that dome in Las Vegas. Do the Bears have a chance? Absolutely. Any given Sunday. We know that. Do I think the Bears will beat the Raiders? Absolutely not. Not for two reasons. One, the Raiders are at home. They're a better team. But most importantly, in my opinion, because the Raiders are going to be pissed that they lost against the Chargers on Monday night. The Raiders love Monday night. They play well on Monday night, except for last night. So I feel the Raiders are going to come out Sunday against the Bears. They're going to be angry. They're going to apply pressure, and I just feel that the Las Vegas Raiders are going to take that game against the Bears. All right, let's go to week three. Let's go to the third game. Buffalo Bills at Kansas City Chiefs. Buffalo's 3-1. Kansas City's 2-2. The Bills rolled past the Texans 40-0. But the Texans are nobody. The Texans, they don't have a quarterback. Deshaun Watson's not playing for them right now. He's not going to play for them this year. So they're going with that rookie quarterback, and there's your result, 40-0 Buffalo. But Buffalo's for real, guys. Buffalo is for real. And Josh Allen is definitely a for real quarterback. And Buffalo, I know they're playing at Kansas City, and Kansas City, outlasted the Eagles and beat them by 8, 42-30, or excuse me, beat them by 12, 42-30. But I don't know. This one to me is a tough one because Kansas City is at home and it's loud in Kansas City, and they always play well at home. Sure, they lost to the Chargers at home, but Kansas City's tough. But Buffalo, I'm going to have to call this one a toss-up, but I don't like doing that because it looks like I'm bowing out. So I'm going to come up with a team who I think is going to win. Buffalo or Kansas City? Kansas City's at home. They scored 42 on Philadelphia, but Philadelphia is no Buffalo Bill team, that's for sure. So I'll say Kansas City wins this game. I hope they don't. I hope Buffalo wins, but I just got to say Kansas City. I got to say Kansas City. All right, let's go to the last game. The only game of the AFC West where a team is on the road from the AFC West, and that's Denver. Denver is at Pittsburgh. Now, Pittsburgh is 1-3. Denver is 3-1. But Denver is basically a false 3-1. I've already mentioned that. And until they beat a quality team, and do I consider Pittsburgh a quality team? not by record. They're 1-3. But what I do find Pittsburgh at being quality is they're at home. And those crowds, those fans are raucous. They wave those ridiculous Steeler towels. They're loud, they're obnoxious, and unless Denver can get Von Miller back on track and get some sacks on Roethlisberger, who really can't move all that well, and unless the offense, heaven forbid, we have Drew Lock. If Drew Lock's in there, we're in trouble, guys. If Drew Lock is our quarterback in Pittsburgh, we're losing this game. I'm telling you straight up right now. I'm telling you straight up. If Drew Lock is our quarterback in Pittsburgh, we've lost the game. If Teddy Bridgewater is a quarterback in Pittsburgh, I give the nod to Denver. So I can't really give a prediction, so I'm going to do it twofold, like I just did. Here it is. Denver beats Pittsburgh if Teddy Bridgewater is our quarterback. Denver loses this game in Pittsburgh if Drew Lock is our quarterback. That's what I have, guys. That's what I have right there. So if those things come out to fruition, the Chargers will go to 4-1. The Raiders will go to 4-1. Kansas City will go to 3-2. And depending on which quarterback Denver has, they'll either be 4-1 or 3-2. That's it, guys. That's all I have. You comment, please. Give me a comment. Tell me what you think. And hopefully we can get back on track, guys, and get a Denver Bronco win in Pittsburgh. I hope Teddy Bridgewater comes out of concussion protocol in time to be able to play in that game. Otherwise, guys, we're looking at our second loss of the season. That's it, guys. Enjoy your week. Enjoy your sports weekend. Enjoy football on Sunday. And we'll talk to you on Tuesday after Monday Night Football. Thanks a lot, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.